5 Under 5 is a collaboration where you make woodland items for just under $5. Now, most people want to save on their Christmas decor items, so check this out. Hi, my name is Cindy, aka Z9designs. So let's see what items I can make for just pennies on the dollar. DIY number 1, twine Christmas tree. The supplies needed include some jute, cardstock paper, hot glue, and some white acrylic paint. Now, if you looked at my video yesterday, you would have seen how I took a piece of cardstock paper and rolled it in a cone shape as the base. Well, I took that cone shape and made a rustic woodland tree. I went shopping in my craft room and found the supplies that I needed. I started at the bottom of the cone and wrapped a medium-sized twine around the paper cone. I used hot glue around the form at every layer. Now, this takes lots of wrapping and lots of hot glue. Why? Because it made the tree stable so it could stand on its own without falling over. I used a brush to wipe some white acrylic paint here and there to look like snow. I did not use any Mod Podge, but used a lighter to burn away some of the stragglers. How cute is this? And it did not cost anything, but if you must put a cost to it, I would say $1. DIY number 2, a owl picture frame. Supplies needed include a small picture frame, green velvet ribbon, hot glue, picture of an owl, chipboard, reptile adhesive, rub and buff, and Mod Podge. Of course, you cannot have anything woodland without birds and animals. I pulled a free picture of an owl, but I'm not sure where I retrieved it from, but you can customize it and add your own art. I printed out an image of an owl and just trimmed it to size. I used my trusty reptile adhesive and pasted it on some chipboard and smoothed it to be wrinkle-free. Again, I went in my stash and found this beautiful gold mini frame. And then I had some light green velvet ribbon in my stash. And I hot glued that to the back of the frame. Next, I put the picture on the back with hot glue. A bit of rub and buff was used to tone down the bright gold. And to make this art look like an oil painting, I took some matte Mod Podge to bring out the beauty of the picture. Hang it on your tree and you have a mini art ornament. Now, if we're talking about costs, I would say $1.50, because I'm not sure how much I paid for the frame, but I know it was maybe something like 60 cents. 5 Under 5 is hosted by Farm Charm Chic, and the guest host is Nikki Ide for DIY. I just love this collaboration to see what everyone comes up with to save money. They are great women who love to craft and make you smile. So be sure to subscribe, like, and save. The link to their channels is in the description box below. Now, there are other crafters like me who are making woodland items, so check out our channels as well. The link to the playlist is in the description box below. DIY number 3, clay Christmas tree. The supplies needed include air-dried clay, a napkin, cookie cutter, some string, Mod Podge, some clay glaze, parchment paper, and a rolling pin. Now you can use a variety of supplies in your home to keep the cost down. I just added a small ball of air-dried clay in my hand, just kind of massaged it a little bit to soften it up. I put it on parchment paper, but you can use a plastic mat. That would work too. I have an acrylic rolling pin to roll the clay till it's about maybe a 1/4 inch thick. Then I added a napkin with branches and red dots like little ornaments. I placed a tree cookie cutter over the napkin, pressed down firmly, and just removed the extra clay. Now, the napkin had to cover the entire tree, just remember that. And I put Mod Podge on top of the napkin. I used a small instrument to make an opening at the top of the tree. Now, next time I will use a straw because I think it is better to have a larger opening. Then you won't be struggling trying to put the twine or the string or ribbon or whatever it is that you use through it. Now you can see that I also made a star using the same process, except what I did is I used a blue napkin and it turned out beautifully. I placed my completed ornaments on some parchment paper to speed up the drying time, and I did have to turn it over to let it dry on the opposite side. The clay Christmas ornament DIY will take a minimum of 24 hours to dry and harden. And then I added some clay glaze to make it a little bit hard and gave it some shine. Now, the area you hang them is very fragile. In fact, I broke one of mine while adding the string. It costs about $2 for the star and the tree. So I actually made 2 or 3 stars and 2 trees. DIY number 4, painting of a tree. The supplies needed include a small canvas, a tree stencil, red, white, and green acrylic paint, and some glitter. But not the fine glitter. This glitter was a little bit more thick. So what I did is I wet the canvas with water first, and then I took some beige paint and began brushing it over the wet canvas and just kind of blending things. And once that was done, I placed my tree stencil over the canvas, and I had to find one that was the correct size. In other words, not too large where it would go off of the canvas, but not too small where it would look kind of weird with the size of the canvas. I filled the stencil with green paint first, and I just let it dry. Now you say, oh, that's not painting, but hey, you got to look to see how it ended. Next, I dabbed on some white paint so it would look like snow, and the tree was looking good, but I thought it needed a little something else. So I dipped the end of the paintbrush in red paint and dotted small areas around the tree, and so it looks like ornaments. However, if there is snow on the tree, there should be snow on the ground. So a blanket of snow was brushed at the bottom of the tree. And because of the nature of the season, I had to just sprinkle some glitter over the canvas to welcome Christmas. You probably know by now I'm not a real fan of glitter, but it made this one look really neat. So let me know what you think of this one. It only costs $1.25 because I had all of the other supplies on hand. DIY number 5, a pine cone peat pot. Supplies needed include a peat pot, green, gold, and white acrylic paint. All I can say for this one is free, because I had a pine cone that I picked up outside from a tree, and they were dropping just like snowflakes. So I took one, I painted kind of the spines of it green, and then I tipped the edge of the pine cone with white so it would look like snow. I put the pine cone in the peat pot. Well, I tried to get it out to paint it. It wasn't coming out, so I left it alone because I didn't want it to break. So, this one, you can paint the peat pot any color you want. In fact, you can also use a little flower pot. So, if you have liked what you've seen, be sure to subscribe, like, save, and comment. Saving money is what it's all about. Also, follow me on Instagram, TikTok, Threads, and Facebook. And thanks for watching each and every week. I appreciate all of your comments. And remember, it is so hard to forget pain, but it's even harder to remember sweetness. We have no scar to show for happiness, so we learn so little from peace. See you later. Bye-bye. Love, Cindy.